Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm so excited to show you the most beautiful Sherbet collection from our friends at 49 and Market. We'll start with a gorgeous collection pack of 6x8 pattern papers in fresh and vibrant colors. So you have 28 sheets in here with double-sided patterns, as you can see, plus you also get a fussy cut sheet of images as well. Really beautiful. Now, as with other 49 and Market collections, this set features botanicals and butterflies, vintage text, faux texture, and so much more. And this time it has a really cheerful summer vibe. Now, to go along, we have two sets of rub-on transfers. We have botanicals and leaves. Each pack has 6 sheets, and of course the applicator comes along to make it really easy. So we'll be looking at some fun ways to put those to use. And last, we have the laser cut elements pack. You can see some of the designs here. Now, this will have borders, it will have journaling spots, tickets, tabs, some sentiments, all kinds of fun things. Super simple to pop right out, and of course everything is totally coordinated and has that gorgeous and versatile style that we know and love from 49 and Market. So I have some card projects to share with you today and some surfaces too, and of course some demos to go along. As you can see, we have a lot to explore, and I'm really glad you're here. Come play with us. Let's start with this card, which features one of my favorite pieces of pattern paper from the 6x8 pad. Now you can see on here this gorgeous background. I've got some faux texture on here. I've got some scuffing, some words, also some splatters, and even a little bit of scribbling on there. And then these colors are absolutely gorgeous. It's almost like a paint swipe of lots of different colors. Now, what this means is that you can mix and match between all of the rub-ons in the collection as well as those laser cut elements. And because everything is designed to coordinate so perfectly, it's pretty much foolproof which elements you choose to use and the ways you choose to layer them. So I've got 3 rub-ons on here, and probably the most obvious is this yellow bouquet of flowers. Now, the nice thing about this is that you can see even through this blossom up here, you can read some of the text that's printed onto the background paper through that rub-on. So you've got some nice transparency here. And then as well, like with this yellow flower here, it just blends right into that swish of yellow on my background paper. In addition, I've also got this green bit of foliage here. That's a separate rub-on. And then this little butterfly up here at the top corner. So all of this creates a really nice collage element for my ephemera pieces that you see here. So I've got a swatch of lace, some paper lace. Now this is from the Laser Cut Elements pack. You've got several pieces of this, and each one measures 12 inches. Which means it's perfect for your 12 by 12 scrapbook pages, but you can also just snip those down to use portions of them too. Of course, you can use them this way. You can also use them going this way too. So I've just trimmed off a little piece of that light blue lace and glued that on here. I've got a sentiment from the ephemera collection as well as 2 laser cut elements here. And this postage mark is up on some foam tape for a little bit of lift. Now for my card inside, I've got more of that gorgeous pattern paper. I love this sheet because it's got some text on it, it's got some more scuffing, it's got some little scuffy dots of color on here as well. It means that you can really pick and choose from all of the other elements in the collection, and of course that will all coordinate really nicely. So this is a die cut piece here. So is this kind of film strip element, and then I've got a sentiment on here. This beautiful blossom is a rub-on as well. Now, this is a really easy technique to do, and I love that it allows you to coordinate the inside of your card with the outside really easily, but it means that you can use these elements as card focals or as the background or someplace in the middle like I have here. So let's take a look at how easy they are to apply. I'm going to move aside my card and bring in my rub-on supplies. So I've got a sheet of rub-ons, I can kind of pick and choose which of my elements I want to use. So I can go for some of the foliage, or I can use some of the other elements, the butterflies and some of the flowers on here. Now you've got a large sheet, and what you'll do is snip out with a pair of scissors the element you want to use. Now you can see here with this piece that I've got the flower. I've also got some text on here. I can choose to incorporate that into my design, or I can just trim so that I only have the flower. But I love that 49 and Market uses all of the space in here to give you some elements of text or pattern or some sort of design that you can also use in your piece too. So you've got lots of options there. And then of course you want to choose your background paper. Now this is the kind of faux texture side of another sheet of paper. So you can pick and choose and decide which paper you want to layer this onto. So I've got my liner sheet on here, and what I'm going to do is just gently set that aside. Now the rub-ons have a little bit of stick to them, which is nice because it means they won't slide around all over the place. But you also want to make sure that you're not touching that with your hands or setting it down onto another surface, because it can transfer in places you don't want it to. So I'm going to pop this down on here and just gently smooth it almost all the way in place. Before I let go, I'm going to fold up a little corner here. I know it's really hard to see, but it's going to give me something that I can sort of hang on to when I need to remove this liner sheet. So I'm going to smooth this down, and you can see it's not going anywhere because of that stick. And then I'm going to take my applicator. It's got a nice tip on it. I'm going to use this angle on here to burnish the design in place. So you do need to use some even, gentle pressure. You don't have to put your whole, your whole weight into it. It's not an upper arm workout by any means, but you do want to have some pressure on there and make sure that you're burnishing all areas of the design. Just like the rub-ons when you were a kid, except probably a bit more sophisticated designs. And the great thing is that the quality is so nice. Really one of my favorite products from 49 and Market. They're rub-ons. And I think I've said this before, so you know I'm a fan. You know I'm a 49 and Market fan. Okay, I think I've got all of this just about transferred. If there are any elements that are a little more detailed, if I need to use the tip of that applicator, I can do that. And then I'm going to grab onto this folded over corner and gently and slowly lift this up. And this is where I can kind of say, ooh, I didn't transfer everything perfectly. Maybe I need to set this back down and go back and do some more burnishing. I can do that if necessary. So it's pretty forgiving as well. There we go. And then I've got my beautiful flower transferred in place. Now the other nice thing though too is that you've got some texture on here. I mean, I can feel the rub-on, but it's not bulky. It means that I can do some additional layering. I can add in more elements from the Laser Cut Elements pack. I can also add on another rub-on if I wanted to. So you can start to layer some of your rub-ons one on top of the other. And I've got one here that I've done. Now with this piece, I've got this big beautiful orange blossom on here. This butterfly is a second rub-on. So I've rubbed on the first and then rubbed on the second one, overlapping a portion of the first rub-on. And the nice thing is that when you apply that second rub-on top of the first, you're not going to be lifting off anything on the first rub-on. So everything stays nicely in place, but it does give you some additional layering opportunities, which is also really fun and just means that you've got some more choices, which is great. Okay, so coming back to our card here. Now, one other thing I want to point out, I've done this rub-on here on this kind of a film strip style of die cut. Here's another one. You get quite a few in this collection. Now, you can see here you've got some innie pieces, and you can pop those out if you wanted to put something else behind that frame. If you want to apply a rub-on on here though, I really do recommend that you keep the innies in place, and what you might want to do is flip it over and use a little bit of tape to secure those on the back, then glue it in place and then do your rub-on on top of this. And that just means that when you're overlapping some of those elements on there, you don't have an additional bit of texture that you have to accommodate for. So it just keeps everything sort of at the same level. So that's my tip for you on this one. So this is our first card project, and I think you can see how easily all of those elements come together. Now I have another card that is also using some rub-ons, and this time even more rub-ons. So I'm going to grab a few supplies and we'll take a look at this process. Now with this card, I took full advantage of these beautiful rub-ons to create my background. So this is a really fun technique, and one that I like to do with my 49 and Market rub-ons in particular, because you get so many of these sheets like this one here, where normally you might think, okay, I'll trim out just this bit of foliage here, or maybe this little element here, and use them singly. But you can also, of course, remove that liner sheet, place the entire piece onto your background paper, and create your own layered background. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got this sheet here, which has a really soft kind of splattered background. There's some text on here, and it almost looks like a compass here in the background. So what I can do is simply take the entire sheet, and you don't have to cut any elements apart. Pull this off gently, of course, making sure not to handle this too much. So I hold it by the edges, place this down as is, smooth it down, and you can still see some of that text showing through here, and then take that rub-on applicator. Now in this case, I like to use the long side and really burnish the entire piece down. Now it may take a little bit longer than just a single rub-on element, but the effect is totally worth it. Just gives you such a beautiful look. So again, you know, you have a corner that you can kind of pull up from time to time and just do the entire piece. Now I've got one piece that I was just working on to burnish all of those elements on there. I think I just need a little bit in the center here. And this is again one of those full sheets and then a patterned background. So if I lift this off, I think I might have done it all the way. And there I've got a beautiful piece. I guess it can go either way, with all of that foliage on here, coordinating with and layering with some of the printed foliage on that background sheet. Then what I can do is simply cut it into pieces and use different elements of it, or I can use the entire piece as my background. So there's a lot that you can do, either using single images or just go for the whole sheet if you want to. Both ways are great. So on this top portion here, this is a layered rub-on sheet on top of a pattern sheet. And then I've got some of this really pretty faux texture green paper. Here again is another kind of single or double even of some foliage rub-ons on here. These two pieces are both glued to the front of my card, and I've used some of that paper lace to create some definition here. Then on the line, the separation line, I've got some more elements from the laser cut elements pack and a sentiment on here. Then for the card inside, I've got some more of that layered rub-on sheet here. I've inked around the outside edges and glued it to the inside of the card. And then I've got another rub-on with kind of a double rub-on. I've got the floral and I've got this butterfly here on a separate piece of cardstock, just mounted up here, then with a sentiment. And then of course, even more rub-ons going on the inside front of my card too. So lots of fun and different ways that you can incorporate those rub-ons, again, as your background, as some focal elements, as just extra little touches here and there for some really fun and easy ways to use beautiful colors, beautiful dimension, and to create some layers and some transparency. I love using the 49 and Market collections for surfaces like the mini envelope and gift card holder. And you can see I've done 2 projects here using the 2 dies in this set. So as you can see, both of them are the perfect size to hold a standard store gift card, which is what you can use them for. You can also just use them to tuck in a really sweet little message, a photo, or some small keepsake. Super easy to do, so we can take a look at this. I'll move aside this little guy and we'll look at him later. We can start with this mini envelope. So you can see here, this is the shape that you will start with. And I've just die cut that from a piece from that 6x8 collection. I always like to use my Hunky Dory low tack tape for this to make sure that the die doesn't slide around on my sheet when I'm die cutting it. Run it through the die cutting machine, pop it out, and you will have a piece that looks like this. So all of your die cutting is done, but also your scoring is done too. So you've got the score lines on there. You can decide which side you want to be the front and which you want to be the inside, and then just fold those up. Now you may also want to have a bone folder on hand just to make sure those lines are extra crisp. And fold this one here. So easy to do. It makes a really sweet design. Now you can decide if you want to secure up the flaps. You can definitely do that to create an actual envelope. Now I've done this with my grade 5 art club, and all of the kids decided they wanted to keep theirs open so that they could have a special message that sort of went all over the place and that you could see when it was open like that. And then of course you've got your cut line in here so that this tab can just tuck right inside there and secure it all closed. So let's take a look at what I've got going on in here. In this case, I decided to do some double rub-ons on the front here. I've got another little rub-on here, and then the sentiment going on the front. When I open this up, I can unfold it all the way, and then I've got another rub-on that's going over the fold lines. So you don't even have to worry about those fold lines in there. It will still accommodate a rub-on, which is great. And then I have another element from the Die Cut Elements collection and a script dazzle on here, and again a little piece of lace as well. So fun, and such a great way to give just a fun sort of special message. All right, so our second little surfaces project is this one here. Now this is using again the die from the set, and so this is the piece that I will have. Now same process as before, all of the score lines are done for you. So you can just fold those up, move this out of the way, and then wrap those to the back. And then I usually secure them with a little bit of sticky tape. Again, use that bone folder to really score those edges on there. Now for the inside here, I've got this really fun little tag on the inside. Of course, more rub-ons. Now the tag itself comes much longer, so I've just trimmed that off. So don't forget, you've got that option as well. And then I have some of the dazzles on here. These are from the Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle set, and they're really just a perfect size on here as well. So I'm able to decorate all of these elements and then just tuck this right inside, and that is going to give me a really fun little smaller sized petite project that can be used to hold gift cards or sentiments, whatever you wish. I have one more project to show you, and this is a really fun circular step card which is made with a cutting die. Now this was the first time I used this die, and I was just so pleased with how easy it is to do and how much fun it was to decorate. So you can kind of see the design from the front here. Now it does stand up, it's dimensional, it almost has a little bit of movement to it. I'll flip it over so you can see what the back will look like. And then I'll flip it around this way so that you can see when it's unfolded, this is what it will look like too. So one simple shape and lots of easy folds, and you're ready to go. So let's take a look at this. Now this is using the Circle Step card cutting die from hot off the press. You can see it's just one piece right here. And of course there's a project idea on the front so that you can get a little bit of inspiration there. When you flip this over, what I really love and appreciate is that you've got some step-by-step instructions, and then you've also got a diagram here that will show you where the folds are. M is for mountain fold, and V is for valley fold, which of course they tell you on here, and they indicate where on your folded piece or where on your die cut piece you will do the folding. So this comes in really handy. Now I was super excited because the die is just perfectly sized for those 6x8 pattern papers, which means that I can run this through my little tabletop die cutting machine, and I have very little waste going around the outside edges, but I can take advantage of that beautiful pattern paper. So when I have this die cut piece all cut out, then I will have an element that looks like this. Now I've got my cut lines on here. I've also got the score lines. As we saw with the other smaller projects, all of that is included, so it really does make it quite easy. I always like to start with the main fold, and then the others can kind of show themselves as you're folding. So here you can see I've got my mountain folds, I've got my valley folds, and when I've got this all folded up, it will look like this. Now again, a bone folder is going to come in handy. That's going to help you crease those lines in place and just make everything lay a bit flatter. So it's also nice to kind of go in and get these other folds in here as well. And then you are ready to decorate. So you've got your front and then of course the inside. So let me show you what I've done on here. I used a lot of those die cut elements. I had a lot of fun with that. So in the front, I've got two die cut pieces with some rub-ons on here, layered with some of the postage and the ticket ephemera, and then a sentiment from the Elements collection. Here's another little bit of that paper lace, and a script dazzle. That just fitted on there so perfectly, and it went really nicely with the sentiment. Then on these two side flaps, I've got more postage marks. I've got this, here's again one of those little film strip frames with the innies popped out. And again, another one of the postage marks on there. Now, when you're gluing elements on those sides, you do want to keep in mind where you're putting your adhesive on there so that you don't end up gluing things sort of in this folded open area. So again, when I open this up, you can see that I made sure to leave these little tabs unglued so that they can pop out and move more easily. So for the inside, I've got some more rub-ons on here, some more of those leaves, a little butterfly, and then another film strip and more ephemera and an additional sentiment on here. So it makes for a really fun, kind of a surprising and a little bit different card design on here. And just great fun to use in combination with the 49 and Market collection. So this is our last card project for the day. A big thank you to our friends at 49 and Market, as always, for this beautiful collection. And a big thank you to you for joining me today. I always appreciate having you along for the fun. We're really glad that you're here. We're always so happy that you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. Be sure to see the money saver on the right side of your screen at paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.